My name is Jeffrey Davis, and we're back on the air with Radio Entrepreneurs, the radio show and podcast that continuously looks at the economy, leadership, how people are strategizing and building unique businesses. Our next guest, I'd like to introduce you to Andy Posner, founder and CEO of Capital Good Fund. Hi, Andy.
Hi, really excited to chat with you.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit first about Capital Good Fund.
Yeah, I'd be delighted to. We are a nonprofit. We're also what's called a U.S. Treasury-certified community development financial institution, which is a program that certifies banks, credit unions, and nonprofit loan funds like us that are dedicated to serving underserved communities. We do three things. And we've done them since 2009, so 16 years ago when I started the organization. One-on-one financial and health coaching to help low-income families build a budget, improve their credit, create a savings plan, open a bank account, that kind of thing. We do small dollar personal loans also for low-income families across three areas, everything from a $500 loan for a single mother to place a security deposit to a $20,000 loan for an immigrant to apply for a green card, as well as energy efficiency loans for homeowners. And then our third product line is our solar leasing, where we work with low-income homeowners to install solar and or batteries on their homes. And we just crossed $50 million in loans lent out to about 16,000 families. And we've done $5 million in solar leasing, all with a 97% repayment rate. And we actually now operate in 11 states. So we're in a very exciting phase of growth. We've actually grown our originations every year of our existence.
Well, with mortgage rates and the sale of houses changing dramatically, and some of your target group also being affected by the changes over the last month, I'm wondering how all this economic and political change is affecting your client base and your work.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's been a really interesting time. So just as an example, when the lockdowns under the COVID-19 pandemic started in, was it March of 2020, we saw an incredible amount of demand from our client base for loans to help them bridge. They got a pink slip. They needed to bridge until they could get on unemployment. They needed to pay for a hospital bill, that kind of thing. So we launched a product there called the Crisis Relief Loan. We ended up doing 5,000 of those loans. And then as inflation started to bite really in 2022 and on, we also saw people having financial challenges and coming to us for financial coaching to think through what are my strategies to manage my debt, manage my budget, that kind of thing. And then also ongoing need for loans. So for example, if you're in an inflationary period and you happen to get on a list for an affordable housing unit, you're called, you need a security deposit really fast or else you lose that unit. We can come in and provide a loan for that. We've also seen a lot in the clean energy space with energy prices soaring, families coming to us saying, like, I can't afford my bills. They want to put in a heat pump, put insulation in the walls, put in a solar panel, put in batteries, that kind of thing. So we've been rising to the demand and to meet the moment. I think one of the questions going forward is, it looks like inflation's not going to cool off. And the biggest challenge that presents for us as an organization is that we're not a depository. We don't take deposits. We're not a bank. The money we lend out, we have to borrow. And if our borrowing cost goes up, then we either have to raise our interest rates or have a lower margin. And even though we're nonprofit, we do charge interest. About 40% of our revenue is covered by interest income and other earned income. So, there's kind of a balance there of raise rates and you impact our mission and our clients. Don't raise them, impact our margin. And that's just a balance we try to strike. And certainly just overall the uncertainty going forward. It's not clear how for the foundation community is going to respond. So we're just trying to navigate these waters, but we've done it before. I started the organization in '09 in the wake of the financial collapse of '08 and then the subsequent recession. We've grown through that. We grew through COVID. So I think we're pretty nimble, but there's definitely some rocky waters
So,
ahead.
excuse me if I'm not an expert in your area yet. Since you're a nonprofit and you are helping a particular target group, do you also are you available to help finance through donations, grants, alternative ways to help fund your business to help people?
Yeah, exactly. So about 60% of our expenses are currently covered through grants and donations from a wide variety of sources, financial institutions, corporations, foundations, individuals, and the like. And then, like I said, 40% of that is earned income. And we're trying to get as close to 100% earned income as possible, just to reduce our reliance on the uncertainties of philanthropy. But part of the advantage of being a nonprofit is that we can raise grants and donations that allow us to offer lower interest rates, to make riskier loans, to do things like financial coaching, which don't really have an earned income strategy. I mean, we charge a nominal fee for it. And then we also, crucially, allow people to make impact investments in us. Probably our biggest need over the last 6 months and going forward is to raise capital. So people can lend us money, which we then use to make loans to the community. And that's a key need because our loan volume actually soared last year. And then in Q4, we had to curtail it due to a lack of money to lend. So there are actually a number of ways that folks can support our work.
All very interesting, and I'm surprised that I actually went down the right track. Every time every once in a while, a squirrel can find an acorn. Andy, tell us about your particular history that led you to the Good Capital Good Fund. What's your background?
Yeah, and whenever I talk to entrepreneurs, particularly social entrepreneurs, which I would consider myself one, I point out that I have no background in business, finance, economics, and my goal in high school is to drop out and be a pro tennis player. And my bachelor's is in Spanish and my master's in environmental studies, and yet I run one of the fastest growing nonprofit lenders in the country. And I bring that up because a lot of people tell me, oh, well, I'd like to get into this field, but before I start an organization that serves that market, I'm going to go and get 10 years of experience or 5 years of, or whatever it is. And I think that while you can't just blindly go into something, expertise isn't necessarily a prerequisite because I remember when I was getting started kind of in '08 doing the business planning, I would meet with bankers and said, I want to make loans to low income people. And they would say, don't do that. No one's going to pay you back. And well, they were wrong. And I just didn't have those preconceived notions. Now, crucially, though, I did a ton of research. I mean, I had to really become a subject matter expert. So the origin story for this is that in 2008, I was getting a master's in environmental studies at Brown. And I was really lucky because Brown has this culture of innovation, entrepreneurship. They really encourage people to pursue their interests and see where that path takes them. And a couple of things coalesced. So I was always interested in the intersection of finance, environment, and kind of poverty, race, gender, and climate issues. And so I was studying innovative financing mechanisms for things like energy efficiency. And then I read Banker to the Poor by Muhammad Yunus, who won the 2006 Nobel Peace Prize. He's sort of the father of microfinance. And I was like, oh, wow, you could use financial services to empower low income and poor people around the world. And then when the financial collapse hit, I didn't really understand why Lehman Brothers going under would result in somebody being foreclosed on. I mean, it wasn't a direct, but like I just didn't see how that was connected at all because I don't have a finance background. So I started reading about that and I started reading about the history of redlining and predatory lending and discriminatory practices. And so I was starting to see that financial services could be a tool of uplift, like in microfinance, or it could be a tool of oppression, like in redlining and payday lending. And so I just decided, you know what, let me see if I can turn this into a master's thesis, looking at how financial services can be a hub around which climate and social action revolve. And that became what Capital Good Fund is. Our mission is to create pathways out of poverty and advance the green economy. And we do that through coaching, lending, and solar leasing.
We've been speaking with Andy Posner, founder and CEO of Capital Good Fund. Very interesting business, innovative for us on Radio Entrepreneurs. I don't think we've ever had anyone on like you before. But Andy, if someone wants to know more about the Capital Good Fund, connect with you, how would they find you?
Yeah, so our website is capitalgoodfund.org. They can also shoot me an email at andy@capitalgoodfund.org. One of the things that's interesting about being a nonprofit is that we don't have the same incentive to hoard knowledge and maximize. We don't have to maximize profit. In fact, we can't. So if somebody were to come to me and say, hey, I'd like to start a similar model in Iowa, I'll give them our underwriting, our policies and procedures, what have you. But crucially, I think, like I mentioned, there's just so many ways to collaborate. People can join our board, they can provide in-kind support or technical assistance, they can invest, they can donate. There's a lot of ways that people can leverage their skills to support our mission and our work, which is only going to be more important in the years to come.
Right. I want to thank you for being on Radio Entrepreneurs and joining our network. And I'm sure we'll talk again in 2025. Thanks again for being on Radio Entrepreneurs.